Good day guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my St. Lucian dumpling and cocoa tea recipe. This is a recipe that is very dear to my heart and brings back so much childhood memories. I really want to share it with you guys, and I hope that you guys get to try it out sometime. So to start off with, I'm going to go ahead and give you a bit of an ingredients breakdown. So over here I've got 4 bay leaves, I've got some cinnamon, I've got some star anise, which is a spice, I've got a nutmeg, I've got my cocoa stick over here, I've got about 1.5 cups of brown sugar, I've got 3 to 4 cups of plain flour, I've got my plate and my grater because we're going to be grating that cocoa, I've got about 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, and I've got a can of evaporated milk. Okay, also not forgetting my water over here. I've got about 4 to 5 cups of water in here, and this is what I'm going to be using to boil my cocoa and everything in. Okay, so this is just an ingredients breakdown. So to start off with, what we're going to go ahead and do is to add our water to our pot. Okay, I'm going to be adding all of the water to the pot. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my bay leaves. All right, add in your bay leaves, followed by your cinnamon sticks and your star anise spice. All right, so this is what we're gonna put into the pot to let it boil on low for at least 10 minutes while we go ahead and grate our cocoa and our nutmeg. Okay, I suggest leaving the lid off of this, or you can put the lid on. Sometimes I put the lid on and sometimes I don't, but what you really want is for all of the leaves and the spices to start boiling together to kind of like flavor the water. Okay, the water is clear, but as soon as everything starts coming together, it's gonna get to a bit of a reddish brown color, and this is going to be from the cinnamon. Okay. So the next thing that you want to do is to set your flour to one side while we go ahead and grate our cocoa. Okay, so you can set your flour, your sugar, as well as your vanilla essence to one side while we go ahead and grate our cocoa. To grate our cocoa, I'm going to be doing it on the smallest parts of the grater. Alright, and let's not just forget our nutmeg is in the raw form. I'm just going to use a bottle and just to crack it open, and this is how it looks. Okay, so this is our nutmeg, and this is just the casing that keeps it. Alright, so let's go ahead and grate our cocoa. I'm going to be grating about 2 inches, maybe about half of this cocoa stick. This is a rather small cocoa stick. Normally they have it in different sizes, and this was made by my grandpa, so this is the authentic stuff. Okay, so there we have it, and all you want to do is just to grate it. As you grate it, it's going to come out in a powder form. Alright, and this is what you're after. And you can knock the grater every now and then just so that it doesn't stick. Okay, as you can see, the powder is coming along really well. So this is about 1 inch grated so far. I'm gonna go ahead and grate a bit more because you want the cocoa to be nice and thick. You don't want it to be too watery. And there you have it, guys. I've used about half of my cocoa stick, and I'm gonna go ahead and grate my nutmeg now. Don't mind the lumps you see there. This is not lumps. Basically, when you press it down, it's gonna flatten. Now, I like to grate my nutmeg on a bigger side. Okay, and you don't need too much nutmeg. Okay, I'm just putting about 1/4 of a nutmeg in there. As you can see, just about this much. All right, and if you don't have the raw nutmeg, you can always use the one in the bottle. Okay, because I use this one as well sometimes. All right, so what we're gonna do now is to add this to our pot. By now our water should be boiling, and this is what we're after. Okay, we're gonna add that to the pot so that it can boil together with all those leaves, the cinnamon, and all of these spices. All right. Okay guys, so see what I was saying about the water? See how it's changed to like a nice kind of like dark brown, light brown type of color, and that is from the cinnamon and all of those spices that is basically in our water. All right, so all I'm doing now is to go ahead and add in my grated cocoa. All right, and what you want to do is to take a spoon and start to stir that up. All right, just stir that up. And do you see how nice and chocolatey the water is now looking? If you're making cocoa tea, the St. Lucian cocoa tea, after you've added in all of your leaves and your spices and you've added in your grated cocoa and nutmeg, what you would then do is to add in your sugar and your milk, and then this is how we make our cocoa tea. All right, but we're not making cocoa tea today. We're making dumplings and cocoa tea. Maybe I will do a separate post on cocoa tea, but listen, it's really not that different. Okay, so we're gonna let that boil for at least 10 minutes while we go ahead and work with our flour. As mentioned earlier, I'm gonna be using about 3 to 4 cups of plain flour, and what I like to do, I like to go in with just a little pinch of salt. This is optional, but it's just something that I like to do, just a pinch. All right, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and just massage that into my flour. I've got about a cup of water here, and I'm gonna be making a nice firm dough, similar to if you're making boiled dumplings. And all you wanna do is to just keep on mixing your dough till it's nicely combined and you have a nice firm dough. Okay, now this can take about anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes to combine everything. And you can go in with a bit more water if the 1 cup that we have is not sufficient. Okay, now if you really want to try this recipe, you don't have to do as much as I'm doing. For example, if I'm using like 3 to 4 cups of flour, you can use about 2 cups of flour if you're just making a smaller portion. Okay, all you'd have to do is kind of like just half the ingredients that I will be using, and as always, I always put the ingredients that I use in the description box, so you can always check it out there and kind of like work it out. Just cut everything in half if you want to make this recipe, but not as much as what I'm making. Okay, so just keep combining everything, and then when I have a nice firm dough, I'm gonna come back and show you guys what it's looking like. All right, okay, so now we've got our nice dough that is fully combined. Boom. All right, looking amazing. We're gonna check on our pot and see how everything is coming along. All right, so now that our flour is done, we're gonna go ahead and start working on our dumplings. Now all you want to do for the dumplings is to basically just take a piece. You can cut a piece off if you want, and I like to just roll it in between my fingers like so. Okay, and I like to just cut it into the pot. Now you need to be careful. You can actually decide to put it onto a plate if you want, or you can just go ahead and add it to the pot like I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and roll all of it, and then as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna come back and show you guys how it looks. Okay, and don't forget to stir. And there we have it, guys. Our dumplings have been added to our pot, and as you can see, this is a really big pot of dumpling and cocoa tea, ideal for like a Friday night, because man, I'm telling you, this brings back so much childhood memories. All right, so I'm gonna let my dumplings cook for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my milk, my sugar, and my vanilla essence lastly. All right, so let this cook for 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna add my milk. There we go, guys. Our dumplings have been cooked. As you can tell, dumplings cook very easily. Literally, as soon as they're cooked, they start to float to the top of the pot. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is to add in my evaporated milk, and I'm putting the whole can because I like my dumplings and cocoa tea to be very creamy. And you're just gonna stir that in together, and do you see how nice and chocolatey it looks? And for people that may wonder, this is like a comfort food, okay? Normally in St. Lucia, if it's raining, probably there's a storm, or we just have a bit of rainy weather, because you know our climate is made up of the hurricane season, and you know we get a bit of hot weather and all that stuff. So normally when it's raining, it tends to get a little bit cold and wet. So our granny used to make this kind of like a comfort food. Okay? So as soon as our milk starts to boil, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my sugar. All right? And I don't add all the sugar in one go. I like to put some at a time and just taste it as I go along, okay? Because I find if it's missing sugar, you can always add a bit more, but when it's too sweet, it's just not the best tasting thing. All right, so we're gonna put some sugar in, stir it up, and then we're gonna taste it to see if it has enough. And this is how my granny liked to taste, man. Okay, we're gonna add a bit more sugar. All right, stir it up to mix that well, and then we're gonna taste again. Okay, so now that our heat has been turned down low, I'm just gonna go ahead and add in my vanilla essence. All right, and then we're gonna stir that up for at least a minute, and our dumplings and cocoa tea is gonna be ready. Guys, I'm in England, yeah, and it is so cold, so at the moment this is literally gonna hit all of the right spots. All right, and I like to let it rest for at least 5 minutes before I start serving it up. Okay, do you see how nice and thick the cocoa tea is? Listen, I just absolutely love this. I might be tempted to actually take a cup of just the cocoa tea only, you know, and just drink this, because man, so warm and comforting. And there you have it, guys. My delicious pot of dumpling and cocoa tea is ready. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will definitely be seeing you in my next one. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.